is the most fun testimonial that I've had for a long time. So we have Betty and Ron for the end of a 3-day testimonial. They drove here from Palmdale, California. And at the time, Betty really couldn't travel. I mean, she could not have gotten on an airplane because she was just too dizzy and too disoriented. Had a lot of photophobia, couldn't deal with light, couldn't go up an escalator. Had a lot of disorientation. And Ron he wanted to bring her here, but he wanted to get the tune up, you know. Mm-hmm. So here's what's the funny part of the story is, I started practice in 1978, and in the end of 78, I guess, it probably would have been the summer or fall of that. They were about, you were just some of the very first people I ever treated, all right?
Yeah.
So 41 years later, I continued my treatments. Now that's a story. So you were 26 years old when I'd seen you. Mm-hmm. You'd had a hysterectomy and all terrible nervous stuff that had happened. Took care of that, and I saw him a little bit for a couple of years before I left for here. But and then you'd had some bad back problems there. Those got better.
Yep.
Okay. So now, what have you seen? You start out, Ron. What are the changes that you've seen?
Well, and to continue the story, he moved to Santa Monica. We followed him there. He moved to Pasadena. We followed him there. And so we really were sorry that he left California, of course. But when I came, I had several issues. One was being constipation.
Oh, geez.
I had a lower back problem, and I've been wheezing, and I'm retired from the fire department and wildfires in California, and I breathed smoke for 20 years fighting wildfires in the summertime. So Dr. Davis discovered some aluminum that I had in my lungs and some issues, and so I was able to go the first night. I went to the bathroom without laxatives, second day without laxatives, and the third day without laxatives. The wheezing, Betty doesn't hear the wheezing, I don't feel the wheezing. And then I also ran some blood work with my medical doctor in California, and I discovered that I had a low thyroid. And but he didn't know what to give me, and I'm not a big medication person anyway, and Dr. Davis found something for that, and I'm already feeling the energy increase.
Yeah, and these are all things, if you look in the 3-day intensive description on the little website, those are the things that have to be gone through. But in general medicine, there's just not anybody doing that anymore. There's a big inventory of things you have to go through. We found 2 particular things that are going to stimulate the thyroid. I think that's going to be great. We use electrotherapies and stuff to try to help them get rid of infection that most people have. And so anyway, it was just a wonderful visit.
It was.
You're both going to be quite renewed.
Well worth the trip.
And for you, she came in the next day, and I said, what the funny thing about it is, because of the way these things are integrated, a lot of times the changes are rather seamless. And if you don't ask specific questions, some people, they go, well, I feel better. Because you said, well, I feel better.
I do.
I feel better. And then when I said, well, what is it that feels better? Betty had to kind of think for a minute, and then she said, oh, well, all that sensitivity to light's gone. That's a measure of adrenal function, kidney adrenal energy. And she said, yeah, and I went up an escalator, and then I went down an escalator. I wasn't able to do that. And that was after a day, or I don't know, second day maybe, I don't know which.
A day and a half, I think.
Yeah. So there's just life change, which is wonderful, but the fun of the story is, and the fun of seeing, I know you so well, because in those days I started out with a patient, I'd spend, an hour with them trying to figure, I don't know what to do. And now they came in, and it was like I'd seen them yesterday. I go, hey, well, you put a few years on you, but when you've had that experience, I said, you know what to do. And we did. And we had fun, and it's been great.
Thank you, Dr. Davis.